Welcome to another episode of Mike Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Eric. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Landry. Landry, a lot to get into tonight, so I don't even care how you're doing tonight. We are going into it, man. Like, college football, I just got to ask this. When did Notre Dame become a stepping stone job? Like,
Probably since the mid-late 90s, honestly. Eric, for those who don't watch the show, Eric's a big Rudy kind of guy.
I
And
like
I'm a
Rudy.
Notre Dame
I don't like
can't
Notre
focus on
Dame.
football. They focus on everything, which to me makes them unappealing. Whereas other coaches go to the school, and that coach is like the god of football.
Mm-hmm.
At Notre Dame, I feel like even Kelly said it himself, actually. To be a coach at Notre Dame, you have to be more than about football. And I think in order to have a successful, dominant program, you got to be all about football. That's just me.
Okay. Because to me, like Notre Dame, if you look at their history and what they've been able to achieve, I can't believe that that's not the dream coaching job.
Well, look, I'm not saying they're not a good coaching job. I don't want you to get that, and that they're not a good football program. I'm saying to be in the Alabama status, you've got to be obsessed with football. Your coach has to be obsessed with football. The athletic director who handles them has to be all about supporting that obsession about football. I don't quite think Notre Dame's like that.
Well, Notre Dame's got more of the academic prowess that goes.
Yeah, they're more of a prestige.
Yeah. And so I guess he's just like, hey, I want to go somewhere where I can coach some dumb guys. So congratulations.
Well, and LSU is definitely a place that is all about football. And given that their program has nosedived, they are going to give anybody any tool they need to be successful. So I personally think it's a good move. Well, I like LSU football program better, but I like Notre Dame as a school better.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd rather have the
if your child was going to attend one of those two colleges, you'd rather have them attend school at Notre Dame if they were going to play football.
But if I wanted them to have a chance at the NFL, I want them going to LSU.
Well, yeah. I would agree with that as well.
Louisiana, for those who don't know this, when it comes to college, when you had talked about it once, I told you that Harris County, specifically in Texas, which is Houston, basically, is Harris County. 80% of Harris County is Houston. Louisiana, where LSU's at predominantly, and around the USC and UCLA colleges, and one place in Florida is where 80% of the top talent in college that enters the NFL has come from.
That's amazing.
Just to give people a perspective of why it's good to go take that coaching job in Louisiana. You are sitting in a cesspool of high school talent that you can grab before they even go visit another college.
No, I would say, I mean, look, as a coach at Notre Dame, like I'd like to think that still carries enough clap to say we can walk into any living room and have a chance at any kid.
I said cesspool. Does that? I say cesspool. That sounds like bad.
Yeah, that does make it sound bad.
A gene pool. Let me go. You get the better gene pool. There we go. Cesspool sounds like you're a virus to get your football team.
Is that like another mutation?
All right, moving on.
So, okay. Also, Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma. Again, another spot where I'd say, wow, Oklahoma is now a launching spot. Yeah. Like, I understand when, Al Golden and Matt Rule left Temple to go other places. Yeah, I know that my alma mater, it's, if you do good there, you go somewhere else to try and do better.
I wonder if Kelly even if he got talked to about the Oklahoma position. I watched a 20-minute interview today with Lincoln Riley on the Herd, sitting in a chair, relaxed, talking about how the whole thing went down. Mm-hmm. He said it happened relatively quick. He said, look, we weren't interested in not being the coach of Oklahoma next year. He said USC called us out of the blue. We didn't even know they had interest in me. Called me out of the blue. He's like, I flew out there. I met with him. I slept for a day, and then I gave him an answer. And he goes, and this was, I think he said Saturday night. This past Friday, he's like, that's how quick this happened. He's like, this wasn't something I had planned on doing at all. There were no previous talks before Friday night or Friday morning when they had called him, contacted him to come out. He's like, so this was like a spur of the moment. Man, let me just take a look. He's like, went out there. He's like, I thought about my family. He's like, I thought about USC. He goes, there's something about building them back to prestige makes him excited. And Pete Carroll called him on the phone and told Lincoln Riley, hey, here's all the fines and shit I left behind, and here's all the Heisman trophies you need to get back. But what's up? And so Pete Carroll's, he said, I'm ecstatic. He's like, I couldn't pick a better coach. But you see, I'm excited to see that program come back to whatever. I wonder if Oklahoma ever reached out to Kelly.
Yeah, I wonder if like there was still some shock in that, like, wait, no, Lincoln Riley is leaving us. Like,
you know what it goes to show, though, man? That no matter how committed a coach is, just pick up the phone and give it a shot and call him up and see if you can get him to come talk to you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. And you know what it says? Everybody has a price, not just monetarily, but everybody has a price. Either that price equals that's better for my family, that's my alma mater, you know, something. There's always a price that might be able to get you to go somewhere else. I mean, think about it.
So you're saying the $1 Million Man works at USC right now?
I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't have left Oklahoma.
No, me either.
Once I have an establishment of you're probably never going to fire me until I quit.
Right.
I'm not going to leave that school until it looks like it's probably getting close to being time. Whereas he could go to USC, have 3 bad years, and he's out.
Sure. And look, and that's a big risk.
That.
You got to wonder how big it was the check. I mean, I imagine.
Well, not only that, you pay state tax.
Yeah.
In California, you don't pay that in Oklahoma. So it had to be a substantial amount to outdo the tax he'll pay and still come out ahead on top of that.
Right.
So that's going to be a good amount of money. Yeah.
Hey, good on him. That kind of brings us to, I guess, our next topic, talking about these college coaches. In particular, I want to talk about Brian Kelly because, you know, he leaves Notre Dame, which, of course, they're off this week because it's conference championship week. But Notre Dame could find themselves backdooring their way into the playoffs. I mean, to me, like, it kind of makes me wonder, like, who's coaching there? Like, if they make the playoffs, that's never been done. Where like the team can play for a national championship, and are they going to have an interim coach?
Or is it set up to where
Kelly
isn't belling until everything's complete with this season?
Right, I haven't heard either way.
Typically, it's the way it goes. So when Tom Herman was poached for UT, that was a week before the bowl game that U of H was going to be in. And the camera guy, he was mad. If you go back and watch the interview, camera guy called him out and said, hey, so since you're going to UT, and no one knew that at the time, he basically called him out in the middle of the interview. And it was when he was walking out of the locker room to go onto the practice field. So he was his face looked like, dude, if no one's looking, I'd beat you down. You might have just screwed up the morale of my team, basically, is what he was saying. Yeah. My guess is Kelly and Riley will both coach to whatever the outcome is. Of course, Oklahoma's probably pretty much out, not going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, so they're not.
None to worry there. But Notre Dame, and we'll get to it in a minute, of our top 10 teams, I have Notre Dame at number 5. So it's very well.
Sure.
If Michigan and Alabama throw down and one of those falls under 4, Notre Dame would move up into the top 4 spots. Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you want to just go top 4 and then we can talk about the scenarios on how that would change?
Let's do top 5 and then we'll do the second half of the top 5.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, I got Georgia.
Yeah, mine as well.
Number 2, I got Michigan.
Yep.
Okay. That was hard for me because it's hard for me to say Michigan is better than Alabama, which
know.
I don't necessarily think they are, but
I just think they've earned that spot.
Exactly. And you know me, I'm not big on earning. I'm usually like who's likely to actually win, but in that one I couldn't do it. Number 3, I have Alabama, and number 4, I have Cincinnati, and number 5, I have Notre Dame.
Well, gee, what great, compelling talk radio. We agree completely on the top 5.
Okay. Now, do you want to discuss anything about those teams, or do you want to do the second half?
Well, we can discuss some of it in the sense that I feel like right now, like if Alabama wins, the top 4 is the top 4. If Alabama beats Georgia, Michigan holds serve, and then Cincinnati.
Do you think Georgia, being that they'll only have 1 loss? Or
right, I think Georgia stays in the top 4.
You do?
That would be their only loss. Yeah.
Eek. I think, unfortunately, in college, losing at the end of the season really
messes you up. Punishes you more than losing at the beginning.
Yeah, they don't give you that benefit of the doubt. Okay.
So are you saying that you think if Georgia were to lose to Alabama on Saturday, they should
I think they go to number
They
5.
should or they will?
I think Georgia will win.
I'm
I think
just saying,
Georgia's the better
in
team.
this scenario,
But if
they were
Georgia was
lose.
to lose, I have Georgia at number 5 after that.
Okay.
Which
See,
puts
I
them
think Georgia would stay in the top 4.
right outside the category. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Alabama, if they do beat Georgia, in my opinion, it's just going to take the whole thing anyways. I mean, if you can beat that good of a team, then that pretty much signifies who the national champion is going to be, which I'm a big fan of because it will finally put Saban past the Bear Bryant conversation. He'll be past it. He won't be on par with it anymore.
Yeah.
He'll officially be on the other side.
Right.
He will be the greatest college head coach in history at that point.
Like I already think he is, just because of being able to do what he's done now
in this era.
That also includes what he did at LSU before.
Yeah. For me, it's one of those technicalities. Like from a philosophical standpoint, from an era standpoint, Saban's the best coach college football. From a technical standpoint, Bear Bryant and him are still on par with each other. I think he needs one more to get on the other side of that, where Bear Bryant moves to number 2, and he's officially it.
Well, he leaves no doubt then.
Yeah.
So that's our 1 through 5. Now, to me, what changes things is, like, again, if Alabama were to lose to Georgia, to me, that's where things start to get interesting. That's where Notre Dame could slip in. But this is also where my number 6 team, Oklahoma State, where if Oklahoma State were to win against Baylor on Saturday,
I have Oklahoma State as number 6.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So I think if Oklahoma State wins on Saturday and Alabama were to lose, I think there's a good chance, seeing as they're playing on Saturday and just because they're going to be in front of the public's eye, that they could leapfrog Notre Dame and get into that 4 spot.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's possible. I think Oklahoma State, I like to look at it this way. So at first I look at the technicality of where they actually at schedule-wise, what kind of spot do they deserve? And then I think if who played who would actually win.
Sure.
I think Oklahoma State could beat Notre Dame, personally.
I do too.
But I think Notre Dame deserves their spot where they're at right now because of what they've done so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what makes college tough, right? I mean, in the NFL, there's no doubt left on the field.
You eventually play each other. Procedures. You
eventually play each other and X each other out. College is this once again. It's why I've always said we need to move to an 8-game playoff to really make it right. To where the last 2 who don't get in, no one really feels like they barely would have got in anyway.
They would have won the championship, right?
Yeah. They would have been a Cinderella, and they would have to really pull off a miracle, which is possible, but the likelihood is 1%. Yeah. Whereas a number 5 or a number 6, could possibly upstage a couple of teams every once in a while. I mean, look at us talking right now. We got a number 6 that we know could probably upset a number 5.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and hey, look, and then if they were to get into that spot, like a number 6, I think could take down. I think they could take down Cincinnati. Like Cincinnati deserves their spot, and like we had this conversation through text messaging that I was on the Cincinnati bandwagon a little bit before you, and so like.
Well, quote me. I'm never going to be on the Cincinnati bandwagon. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying as far as them getting into the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And so, like, it just based on what they deserve, like, nobody in this conversation currently has a better win than winning at Notre Dame, and that Cincinnati did that. Now, if Alabama beats Georgia, then clearly they have a better argument because that's a better win. And Georgia beating Alabama, that's a better win for Georgia. But I mean, none of those teams, like Cincinnati, doesn't have to leapfrog either of those teams, at least not right now.
I mean, unfortunately, like I have Ohio State at number 7, and Baylor at number 8, Ole Miss at number 9, and Utah at number 10. That's what I got. And
that is pretty. Wow, we couldn't have planned that any better. That's great. That's my exact top 10.
But when I really look at this. I really only see 4 competitive teams in here. Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Oklahoma.
Well,
I
Oklahoma
don't think
State,
Notre
yeah.
Dame, Cincinnati, Baylor, Ole Miss, Utah, even Ohio State. I don't know what happened to Ohio State this year. It's like one game they put up 50, the next game they get blasted.
Yeah, they shellacked Michigan State, who I thought was at the time better than Michigan. They beat Michigan
Yeah.
and beat Michigan, I wouldn't say handily, but I mean, took it to them.
The enemy of my friend is, and the
The
friend of
enemy
my enemy is what happened with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a weird scenario there. And I mean, but like you said, Michigan just came out hungry and just they had a real drive. Like they were not going to let Jim Harbaugh down. And that's to be commended. Good on them.
Yeah, I mean, even though he just got his contract, man, even me, who thinks Jim Harbaugh's, one of the best coaches, both NFL and college, even I'm starting to be like, man, maybe Michigan isn't your school to do it. Maybe you need to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about it. Like, Michigan, like Jim Harbaugh, for all the success he's had, and I think he's done a good job at Michigan for the most part.
No, he's put them back on the map, even though they weren't winning. They're a team to pay attention to again.
Right. And now,
but the bar was high for him.
Beat Ohio State, and it all comes down to like the game is so big that they just call it the game.
Yeah,
Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, I watched it. I mean, it was a good game.
Yeah,
it wasn't the most memorable one I've ever seen, but it was a good game.
Oh, sure, yeah. Like some of those ones when we were kids, like those are some great ones. The Michigan,
the '97 game is still the best Ohio State Michigan game I ever watched.
Yeah, agreed.
So let's say Georgia beats Alabama. Georgia stays at 1. Michigan stays at 2. Cincinnati would then move to 3.
Right.
And then basically it's about Notre Dame and Oklahoma State.
All right. And to me, that's the only argument there is those 5. It's those 5 teams competing for 4, or well, I guess 6 teams competing for 4 spots.
Right. So let's reverse it. Alabama beats Georgia. You think Georgia moves to number 4? I think Georgia falls to 5. I think Cincinnati and Notre Dame move up. And then we basically have Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, which to me is just crap. Because
I think it would go Alabama at number 1, Michigan number 2, like you said. I think then Georgia goes to 3, Cincinnati stays at 4, Notre Dame still left out.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Georgia, even if they lost to Michigan, it's one of those let them play each other twice kind of things and see who the world champ is. But if Georgia gets handily beat by Alabama, I think they drop out of the top 4. I mean, if Alabama puts up 21 above.
I guess that's where it becomes like how quality of a game is it?
Yeah.
Like if Alabama just straight up whoops them, that could knock Georgia out. Like, the way the Georgia's defense is, I don't think anybody's just going to straight up shellac them. Because even if their offense has an off day, I just can't picture that defense having an off day.
I've been rooting for Georgia for God knows how long.
Sure.
5 years straight, I've been thinking Georgia's going to get in there. And then, they did get in the playoffs, and they get whipped by Ohio State that one year. And, well, not whipped. I mean, it came down to the wire. But, I didn't even think Ohio State would hang. I thought Georgia was that much better, and they didn't play that kind of game. That's what I mean. So when I say whipped by Georgia standards that year. But, yeah, I mean, basically, I think the 2 teams we're really debating right here is Alabama, Georgia will solve itself. So we're really just talking about Oklahoma State, Notre Dame.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Notre Dame only lost 1 game this year, and that was to Cincinnati, who's also in our playoff scenario.
Right.
I mean, again,
which to me, either you make them rematch or you put Oklahoma State to replace the weaker of the 2.
And to me, look, I think I would want to put Notre Dame in that spot. But, man, after watching Bedlam last week, that Oklahoma State team is really freaking good.
Yeah, they are good.
They belong in that conversation.
I mean, they embarrassed UT. Baylor. They made UT like what rival? What rival are you talking about? That's a crush. Speaking of which, what happened to UT?
They were looking pretty good, and then all of a sudden the bottom fell out on them.
I think they prematurely shouldn't have got rid of the previous coach. I think they should give him a little more time. He was trending up. He just wasn't getting over the hump. And I think with a little massage time, he would have worked his way through that with Tom Herman. But UT, USC, LSU, Alabama's I mean, until that dude retires, that's never going to be a conversation piece. But
Right.
to me, those are the jobs in college football that come with a lot more than just being a football coach. They come with everything behind them, school, dynasty, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
UT, it's like, why can't you get one of the best coaches? Why do you keep getting these guys who you want? Why don't you go get the Lincoln Riley? Why don't you go get the Kelly? I don't understand UT and their coaching selection system. Herman, I got. Alumni, proved himself, undefeated, U of H. Okay, got it. Didn't work out good. But why do you stay away from big names? Why are you scared of the big names?
Right.
I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you want to be a top-tier program, which Texas is supposed to be, like, you've got to be willing to go get the top-tier coach.
Yeah.
And then you've got to give him time to operate. Now, Todd Herman, like, I felt like you needed to give him more time to work on, because he had to come in. He had to change the culture.
Yeah.
And not to say that Strong or even Mac Brown, like those guys are great, but like things had deteriorated, and you needed to do something to fundamentally change the program. And that's
I think he needs someone to flip the page on the era, move into a new era of football.
Yeah, I don't think it gave them enough. It gave him enough of an opportunity to see how, like, after 4 years, I mean, all his guys, like, they should. I'll always say that every college coach should have 4 years at least, like, minimum.
Totally agree. Yeah, 4 years is the minimum. 5 years if they're trending up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you've got all of your guys. And they're all guys that he recruited and he would not get, because then you can't say, well, dude, that senior class, I didn't recruit that class. Why are you going to put that on me? Like,
yeah. So what are you thinking for Notre Dame? What do you think is going to be the coach there?
It'd be a funny choice, because I don't think he'll ever. Well, I don't think they'll do it. Like, but if I was Notre Dame, I'd have the stones to go out there and say, "Hey, John Gruden, want to come coach for us?"
Dude, yeah.
Right? They won't do it.
I gotta admit, I would. They wouldn't want the controversy, but yeah, it'd be a pretty damn smart move.
Right. Aside from that, like, I could see them going to, like, Utah, trying to get their coach. Yeah, you'll see some other NFL. You know who else would be a great choice to go there?
Yeah.
Doug Peterson.
Yeah, true. Here's who I think they'll actually go for, or they'll actually take a look at. I think they'll go for the coach of Cincinnati. They'll say, "Hey, you did a good job. Now come up to the big boys."
Yeah,
I think that, or
that. Hey, look, they did the same thing with Brian Kelly.
Yeah, or I think Matt Campbell of Iowa would be a good coach. He's done really well with Iowa. And I think if you gave him a bigger name with some bigger blue chips to go grab some better recruits with.
Right.
He could probably do. I mean, and you're inheriting a good system. Kelly is leaving you a good system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a good, strong class that he's going to inherit. Whoever this next coach is going to inherit a really strong senior class. And yeah, I think that would be a phenomenal pick to go get.
And look, I am surprised that Kelly being the pick for LSU, culturally wise.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame's very clean cut, preppy, professional school. LSU's more of a party. Bring it on atmosphere, enjoy your Cajun seafood, put your feet up, so maybe I'm misjudging his character. Maybe that's just because of the prestige of Notre Dame. I'm overriding Kelly's ability to be that kind of coach. I don't know.
Well, and to be able to connect with the kids that he's going to have to connect with.
Yeah, I am surprised. I just think LSU could have probably gotten someone a little bit different, like a Cincinnati coach. They could have gone for something, but I applaud them because they were doing what UT won't. They went after a big name right away. They didn't sit there and fiddle with a bunch of let's see how he does kind of coaches.
Yeah, just baptism by fire. Now, and I like what Sarkisian's done there. Like, I think he's been good.
Where at UT?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. UT is one of the schools where put up or get out. And I just don't feel we need that guy. Yeah, but you don't want to
start creating that rotating door where all of a sudden, like it's like Nebraska. Like, that's another school where there's just been so many decades now of just this coach doesn't work. So after 3 years, he's gone. 3 years later, that guy's gone.
It all started when they got that stupid coach from the freaking Raiders, and he tried to redo their entire offense. And everybody's been trying to get the culture back to what it was before. He went and just trashed all that. He tried to be all modern and screw it all up. I mean, look, there's no Osborne. There isn't going to be another Osborne probably in Nebraska. Scott Frost is about as close as you'll get to it. And even he struggles with trying to get it going.
And the game's changed. He's another one. Give him time. Let him.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Nebraska will. I think his loyalty to that program. For UT, I think John Gruden would be excellent for UT.
Oh, yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And UT is the type of school
that wouldn't give a shit. You know?
Yeah, they'd be like, dude, you know, our football program is more important than how your feelings feel. However, I don't know if any school wants to walk right into controversy.
No, and I think like this would be too soon. Like if this was a year from now, I think that would be a good move.
Yeah, if it was 5 years and John Gruden, you know, ended up paying some fines or something like that, or got in trouble, you know, if everybody felt like, okay, he paid his dues, which I don't think he did anything wrong. But let's say people think he needs to do that. After a certain amount of time, we all get that forgivable personality towards somebody if their crime wasn't too bad. Right. And I think that would let him in. I think John Gruden would have been an awesome LSU coach too. I mean, John Gruden fits in a lot of these spaces. Even USC would have been a good landing spot for John Gruden.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Because we're about to find out here pretty soon what NFL coaches are going to be out there floating around that might want to call his job.
Well, I mean, I just told you one. I think Doug Peterson would be one that I could see him being.
He should never been fired in the first place. You know how I feel about that.
I definitely agree with that.
He should have never been a coach looking for a job.
Yeah.
You don't do that kind of job and then be on the street. It doesn't make any damn sense to me. But
I know a lot of people watching might think, oh wait, Eric, the Eagles fan, is going to chime in and tell Landry how wrong he is and how they were right to get rid of Doug Peterson. Nope, not going to happen. Doug Peterson did not deserve to get fired. I said it at the time he got fired. I'll say it now. I'll say it 10 years from now. Doug Peterson should not have been fired. The dude, they still got a statue down there
on him, and I think that's why a lot of people, you know, try to make sense of it. I'm like, look, in the end, the GM calls that shot. He either says yay or nay, and he said yay. So that's not
Howie Roseman sucks. He's a terrible general manager. I hate to say this, and again, like saying these words is kind of sacrilege in Philadelphia. Maybe Chip Kelly was right about Howie Roseman. He was a great contract guy, does not evaluate talent. Look at his drafts.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's a lot coming from you for your hate that you have for Chip Kelly, but you know, you acknowledge where, you know, mud looks like mud.
Yeah. Yeah.
No doubt.
Walks like a duck, quacks. Maybe it's a duck.
Exactly. That's why you go to Miami. All right, let's talk NFL schedule.
All right, yeah. I know, 30 minutes in, who would have thought we'd just be now getting into the NFL schedule? But, yep, college football this time of year, man, it is so awesome. Like, I was glued to my television for about, 12 hours on Saturday. Well, I don't know if anybody can hear it, but I'm kind of fighting a head cold. And it was really bad on Saturday. And so
God, man, those are the worst.
Yeah.
You just sit in misery. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. It was ginger ale, cough drops, and college football. That was my medicine on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't even talk to people when I'm sick. I'm just like, go away, whoever you are.
Yeah.
I isolate myself.
That's what am I trying to do?
I get in the car. I run over people on a parade. I mean, my bad.
Wait, is that not what we're supposed to do anyway? I try to do that when I'm healthy. All right, I'm bringing up my NFL schedule. All right, look.
I like to bring up the stats when you go through the schedule.
Yeah. Do we want to stick with what we did last week? Talk about our local teams first.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't.
I feel like sometimes we run out of steam at the end. Yeah.
Look, Cowboys are playing the Saints. I'll make mine simple. Cowboys playing the Saints. I think Cowboys take it by 10. Bounce back.
Yeah, I do think this is a get-right game for the Cowboys. Although Taysom Hill will be starting at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. But yeah,
and let me make sure I note this. The Cowboys are in trouble. They're in trouble. These 3 straight losses were unexpected. Although I picked one of them as a loss, I did not pick the other 2. They let the Redskins creep back up on their heels. The Cowboys need to they need to end the season right. at this point. If they don't, see ya.
Yeah, and I thought they'd open the door for the Eagles, but the Eagles basically said no thanks. But yeah, I agree. I think the Cowboys get right and beat the Saints. However, I will not be rooting for you guys tomorrow night, but I do think you'll win.
Oh, I hope not. I mean, if you root for me, we probably lose. I don't want
well,
that kind of stuff going.
Really? You think?
Yeah.
You think I have that kind of power?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you have that. You have that kind of aura, that witch aura from like the 1800s.
Yes.
Yeah, you're close to Salem. You're not far from Massachusetts.
I mean, it's still like a 6-7 hour drive.
Well, I mean, look, I live in Texas. That just means going to another city inside my state.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know why that's a big deal to you. All
right. Yeah, I think Cowboys win. All right. Well, okay. Let's talk about the Eagles next. Eagles at the Jets.
Do I need to tell you my pick?
Yeah, go Birds, man. We got to.
Yeah, I can't. If you lose this game, shame on you.
Which, by the way, the Eagles have never, ever lost to the Jets. 11-0.
Jets by 21. Jets by 21 in this game. I did not know that. That's
Eagles are 11-0 against the Jets.
That is interesting. Okay.
All right. Next up, Tampa at Atlanta. The Bucks are getting right. I think they go
Tampa all day. I don't know if everybody can tell, with Gronkowski's return, the Bucks are playing football again.
And that's Gronk is definitely Brady's safety net.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like almost in shock. Like, how it's weird how like that one person, I know it's supposed to be a team sport and whatnot, but hey,
right.
Maybe a team of two is all you really need at the end of the day to really get it right.
All right, next up, the Indianapolis Colts at Houston Texans.
Colts all day. Colts look good. Colts look like they're turning on. Wentz looks like he's returning to form. The Houston Texans, unfortunately, are going the opposite direction.
And which, by the way, according to the average stats of how many snaps the Colts play every week, and based on how many snaps Carson Wentz has played, if Carson Wentz plays every offensive snap this week for the Indianapolis Colts, he will reach 70%. He can only go down to 70% of the snaps, which means the Eagles would get that first round pick by the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, you know what though? Look, to the Colts' defense, so far it looks like it was a good move for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good move for them. I mean, basically look at it like you drafted Wentz first in your draft.
You when you get to April,
you drafted Wentz.
Yeah, that was your first round pick.
So, yeah, I mean.
No, I agree.
You let somebody else develop them, and you got them developed, so you didn't have to go through all that shit.
Yeah, right?
So,
all right, the Arizona Cardinals at the Chicago Bears.
I want to just flat out say, the Cardinals, but because of your love for them, I find ways to fight them and fight the pick. And I'm thinking like cold weather, maybe it'll snow. Those birds like to hibernate during the snow. I'm going to go with Bears just out of spite.
Well, I appreciate your spite. That actually is something that I really appreciate. Respect.
And I can already tell the way you're talking. You're probably going to pick the same pick. You're going with the Bears. Good job, man.
Well, no, I'm going Arizona.
Damn,
all day. All right. Minnesota at Detroit. I'm sorry.
You know what? Look, man, Minnesota is doing. I dogged on them all year, and now they're stepping up.
Yeah.
They're playing good football. They may be a wild card contender if they keep it up.
I agree. And I think Minnesota does win. The line's 7. I love Minnesota by even more than 7, even though Detroit's actually done pretty good this year against the spread.
What team has no wins right now? Is it Detroit?
Detroit Lions.
Whoa, they might have to pull bronze and throw a parade for the
I know. Yeah, they go 0-16-1 because they do have a tie.
Have the Lions ever had a completely non-winless season?
Yes, they have.
I could have sworn they got one one season. I thought it was going to happen.
No. They definitely went winless. If you ever, because one of my favorite shows to watch is NFL Live. Dan Orlovsky is
I like Dan Orlovsky.
And he was on that Lions winless team.
Dan Orlovsky reminds me of a kid that still skateboards when no one's looking.
Right?
He has that like style, look, attitude. Yeah.
All right. Giants at the Dolphins.
I'm gonna go Dolphins. I think Dolphins are showing a little upside. I think the Giants are deciding what kind of team they want to be still.
I'm going to continue to be defiant about how much I want the Dolphins to suck. Oh, did we lose you there, Landry? Oh, there you are.
No, I had a sneeze.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be defiant
I
on
figured
my
COVID and the YouTube video, not a good thing.
Yeah, probably not a good thing. I'm
I
going to
don't know
go
if it's COVID,
Giants.
but it looked like COVID.
Yeah, I don't either. I did get tested the other day, at the beginning of my head cold. But no COVID for me this year.
Awesome.
No, that was last year. I had COVID Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'll take the Giants. Next time we already talked about the Eagles.
Oh, you're gonna go Giants? Okay, I'm gonna go Dolphins. Yeah. There's our first. Well, the Cardinals is on purpose, but this is our first true opposite pick.
All right, Chargers at Bengals.
I think that might be a good game.
I think it'd be a great game.
I'm gonna go Chargers.
That's my upset special of the week. I think the Chargers are gonna go into Cincinnati and win.
Yeah, and Cincinnati's showing a little spark, man.
Yeah. They're showing a heck of a spark.
They're showing like they may be a team to contend with overall.
Mm-hmm. All right, the Washington football team at the Las Vegas Raiders.
Well, look, I'm going for the Raiders just because I need the Washington to lose. So I'm going to go Raiders by a touchdown.
I think Washington's going to win this game. I think Washington's going into Las Vegas and winning. I am buying in on Tyler Heineke. I love that dude. Like, if he was an Eagle, he'd be my favorite player. So,
all right. I had to block you out to make sure I didn't hear you go for the Redskins.
Yeah.
All right.
Jacksonville at the Rams.
Oh, my God. Look, first of all, let me say this about the Rams. They look a little clumpy.
Yeah.
They don't look like they're an efficient, fine old machine like I expected them to be. However, anytime we got a new quarterback, I'm always going to give you the second year to show me what you are, not the first year you arrive. So, given that, I'm still going to pick the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams as well, but man, like over the last few weeks, I feel like that comparison I made a couple weeks ago of, Matt Stafford to Sam Bradford, man, it's starting to catch some traction with me.
No, I don't quite see that. I see a lot of just chemistry issues, like the timing of the ball. I see the offensive line playing some better defensive lines than I think they think they're going to go up against. Mm-hmm. I see Stafford getting sacked when, I didn't think those guys were going to break through and blitz like they do. They played some decent teams with some decent defenses, but there is, to me, a chemistry that looks off right now.
Right.
And I think that would be adjusted by year 2.
All right, so now one of my favorite games, well, they play twice every year, and I always look forward to their games, and it has nothing to do with the Eagles or my hatred of the Cowboys. It's the Steelers and the Ravens.
Oh, no, I call that the Brooklyn Brawl.
Yeah, I love watching those two teams.
You know what? I was just, I was telling, and Chelsea the other day, I was saying, she was watching the Ravens play, and she's like, dude, they look lean. She said, "Man, if you look at their defense, they're not big and fat. They're like lean, tall." And I said, "They're built for speed."
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, one of the best games to watch is a Ravens-Steeler game. There's something about the dark colors of the helmets and the purple and the black busting heads. I go, it's like it looks like you're watching some kind of like street brawl in an alley that's like dark and just freaking all over the place. I know they're the two most physical teams I've seen play football in a long time, and a fight always breaks out between them.
I love it. I love watching those two teams play.
It's like every player is named Perfect. It's crazy.
All right. San Francisco 49ers at Seattle. And again, like we talked about teams that maybe would slip off this year. Remember at the beginning of the season? Hawks. And you remember I said one of the teams I thought might slip off was the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I had no faith in the Hawks.
Yeah.
I thought this was a doomed year for them. Period.
Yeah.
And it's looking like
give me San Fran all day. I love what they're doing there.
And, San Fran, if they could, keep a quarterback healthy, they would probably be in a better position right now.
I still think they're going to make the playoffs.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Look, they're my dark horse team in the NFC. I think they're one of those, like, they stay under the radar all year because they don't win in these giant blowout wins or dominant
Yeah,
performances.
they're nobody's sexy pick, but like you just look up and all
but they
of a
play
sudden,
fundamental football
yeah,
where it counts. I think, Garoppolo is a fundamental quarterback. I think once he gets replaced with, a straight up talent, flash and dash,
like
with Lance. Yeah, I think then we'll see a different. Now, Lance has not looked so good when they put him in. He's got lambasted a couple times.
No,
but hey, welcome to the NFL.
Yeah. All right, Sunday Night Football. Chiefs host the Broncos.
Well, look, in Arrowhead.
Yeah, it's in
Chiefs.
Arrowhead. Yeah,
Chiefs. I mean, their record at home is pretty damn good.
Yeah, take the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I'll take
that's a good rival game.
9.5 points. Yeah,
I see a 14-point win for the Chiefs.
All right, and then on Monday Night Football, a battle for first place in the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills hosting the New England Patriots.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go New England Patriots. There's something about New England. There's some magic brewing over there. Mac Jones looks like a young Tom Brady. Both composure, stature, passer, pocket passing. I'm seeing some elements coming together in New England that are making New England. Look at their record this year already.
Yeah.
Look at their record. That should scare people.
Hey, look, and I said this about Buffalo in our last segment. I said, man, watching the way they've lost the teams like Tennessee, like Jacksonville, like teams that want to beat you up front, like tough teams that want to punch you in the mouth. Man, like, I don't want to say the word, but man, it starts with S and ends with oft. And like it's starting soft.
You basically spelled the word out and left like a letter out.
Yeah, that's the point.
You're like, I don't want to say what the word is, but it starts with I and ends with I. It's like, I mean, I don't know how freaking secretive you're trying to be with your word, but that didn't work.
But no,
I agree. The Bills do not look like the team you used to brag to me about.
Right.
No. They look. It looks like the Cardinals have taken their spot.
Like that team I bragged that the Bills were last year.
Yeah, it feels like the Cardinals are the new Bills.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that are like, oh man, no one saw them coming. There's someone to reckon with. You better watch out. They're coming for you next. And the Bills are the team of, oh, you did go wide right.
Yeah, how did you miss it?
Exactly. The Bills are looking a little wide right in their play right now. I am shocked because you got me on the Bills bandwagon, and now I'm like, how the hell do I get off this thing? This thing sucks.
Why did I listen to Eric?
Yeah, Eric, that fool. So, yeah.
But hey, look, if Buffalo comes back and wins that game, if Buffalo beats New England on Monday night, then all of a sudden, I'm back in, baby. That's right. I will be back in. Bills Mafia, stand up. I do think New England wins on Monday night, but I'll be watching. I have a soft spot in my heart for the Buffalo Bills. Just
for me, I'm with you, man. Like I always say this, and people are always shocked being a Cowboys fan. I want every team to play good football. I want everything to come down to the wire. I want everything to be a throwdown for every game.
So much fun.
Because I want the league to be thick in competitiveness, right? So I want the Bengals. I want the Browns. I want the Dolphins. I want everybody to step up and start playing good football, except for the Jets. But I want everybody to play football to the point to where you don't want to miss a game because every game's so freaking competitive.
Like, when we scroll through and we do these games, and, a couple times there's like, oh, this game, like, whatever. Yeah, that team by like 3 touchdowns. Like, I look forward to the day that we scroll down and there's not one game that we're like, forget that team.
Yeah, I want to be like, hey, one game. Hey, that'll probably come down to a safety, onside kick,
Right. Like, when it comes down to last second, like, it's just who has the ball last and, like.
Who has a bye this week? Titans, Green Bay?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't mention either of those teams.
Yeah.
Titans, the Packers.
Let's talk about Green Bay. Didn't Green Bay come off a loss?
Well, yeah, and then they just beat the Rams.
Yeah, they came off a loss, beat the Rams. You know, I think some people better start like worrying about the Green Bay Packers. We talked about this last week. We're saying the exact same thing, but I saw it again. They're like you don't see them coming or something. They just kind of beat you.
Right. You sit there and you think, oh, we're hanging with this team, going back and forth, going back and forth. Oh, shoot, we didn't get them this time. But now, like, okay, now they're 2 scores up, back and forth, back and forth. They're just, like, all of a sudden you look up and like, wait, we're down 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Like, what the heck's going on?
And on the Titans, I mean, clearly without Henry, they aren't the same team.
Yeah, they're not. They're still a playoff team, but they're not a Super Bowl contender.
Tannehill has taken more sacks without Henry than he has all season with Henry in the last games without Henry. And, their short yardage throwing game is hurting because without Henry, because no one's basically tagging off him, running with him to get him off get that corner or that safety off a receiver. I'm sorry, linebacker off a receiver. And so the short game is suffering. So, we haven't really talked about running backs being valuable as much anymore, but Henry is one of those guys that is clearly valuable because of the way the team's built with him.
I made this comparison to somebody else while watching the Eagles-Giants game. Well, I was talking about it afterwards. I watched the game by myself because I was sick as a dog. But Daniel Jones, does he not kind of remind you of a Ryan Tannehill? Kind of maligned, like mobile enough to where he could get out of the pocket, but needs a solid running game. And if you just say, hey, Daniel Jones, make 3 plays to win a game, hand the ball off a bunch, count on your defense, and maybe come up with 1 or 2 big plays and go win a game. Like, I feel like
no doubt.
Jones, that would be that kind of quarterback.
Like, if Daniel Jones was on another team, and we could say it's about a lot of quarterbacks, but let's throw Daniel Jones on the Patriots, who aren't a perfect team.
Sure.
But they're a good enough team to win. I think Daniel Jones would be having a lot more success in his career right now.
Like, I think Daniel Jones would be a perfect, like a team that might be in the market for a quarterback next year that's got a solid defense, a nice running game, maybe needs another receiver or 2, but, like, that's something they can work on. The New Orleans Saints. I feel like Daniel Jones would be a perfect fit with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be interesting. I don't want him, obviously, but that would be an interesting pick. And I mean, look, I don't think Winston Churchill is going to work out down there personally.
No.
So, and he's starting to show his injury proneness.
Yeah, look, I just think the time has come and gone for Jameis Winston. It's a shame.
Real talented. Like I said, I think he always lacks maturity, which I think hurt his ability to gain confidence from some of the team and some of the coaches.
And it's a shame because it seemed like this year and after like what he had been through that he had finally matured.
Yeah.
And now I think just Father Time's caught up to him, man.
Well, I think anytime you're not as a desirable, commodity as you once were, kind of like Cam Newton, you become humbled. And when you get another shot, you play a different kind of football. You still play from your talent level, but from a mentality standpoint, you kind of center a little bit. Even Cam Newton did. I mean, when he was off, basically didn't get picked up by anybody. He was sitting at home, and they asked him in the interview afterwards, they're like, well, what were you doing? He goes, just to show you, they said, well, you yelled, I'm back when you scored that touchdown. He's like, yeah. He's like, the week before when I got the phone call, I was sitting there watching football, eating a bowl of cereal when I got a phone call. So he's like, that's how quick things can change for you.
Sure.
You got to be ready to go because I'm at that stage in my career where those phone calls just don't happen that much anymore.
Right. Yeah. The next phone call could be the last one.
Yeah. Or, the next phone call could be, hey, it's been great. Here's a box of cereal. See you later. Like,
yeah, you go from, hey, I was eating a bowl of cereal. Now I'm with the Panthers. And then a week later, I was with the Panthers. And now I'm just sitting here eating a bowl of cereal.
Exactly. That's all I got, man.
Yep. Yeah. Good show. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Check out all the other shows here on the Philly Sports Alliance. And stay tuned. We'll be back here to discuss more football next week.
Peace.